Hi, brothers and sisters. It's a beautiful winter's night. Okay, I'm Michelle, and I'm going to be reading from Jim Stevens' 101 Proofs, Absolute Proofs for the Existence of God. 101. So I am going to be reading proof number 83. It's called RAS, or Reticular Activating System. This proof is about one of the most important parts of our brains. It may be the answer to the question of why some people cannot accept that there is a God, while for others it is as plain as the nose on our face. In a previous chapter, number 16, I wrote about how miraculous and astounding our brains are. This chapter is about just one part of the brain, which is about the size of your finger. It is located at the top of the spinal column at the base of the brain stem. Its job is like a gatekeeper for the signals that are coming into your brain. As you can imagine, you have millions upon millions of nerve cells that are reporting every second to your brain about sounds, smells, tastes, touches, or sights from whatever they're connected to, like your fingertips, your stomach, your leg muscles, your bladder, everything. Your conscious brain can only handle an estimated 130 messages per second in any meaningful way. So it absolutely needs some way to sort out what is important and prioritize those millions of messages coming from your body. Your RAS is what limits the messages down to a manageable flow. Wow. That's the purpose of the RAS, the reticular activating system. Most nerves run through the RAS and then get sent out to various other parts of the brain for the interpretation of their signals. The ability to filter out information from external sources and focus on one particular fact or detail or thought is controlled by this brain region. If it weren't for this circuitry, our consciousness would be overwhelmed and flooded with all sensory information, leading to an inability to make decisions. The system helps in prioritizing information and controls what appears in the mind's eye at any point of time. As a simple example of how the RAS prioritizes, think about when you get pain. It immediately gets sent to the front of the consciousness so it can be analyzed and responded to. But that's not all the RAS does. It is able to learn from the conscious mind what to look for in the environment. Look at this picture and see how quickly you can find one of the two letter L's in this diagram. Sort of hard to see. It's over there, it is, right there. It's really cool up close. Probably you did not have to look at every single letter one by one. Have you ever looked for your spouse or child in a huge crowd of people? You found them quickly by scanning. This is what the RAS does. Here's one more to try. See if you can find the 6 in under 10 seconds. Oh, you guys will have to get the book. Oh, sorry. It's very cool. It's over here. Okay. Wow. Let me see. I couldn't. Thus, the RAS, as it turns out, is the major goal seeking mechanism in our brains. We can tell what to look for, and it will help us to find it. In fact, once your RAS is instructed what to look for, whether told consciously or even unconsciously, your RAS will be seeking without you even knowing it. I'm sure you have heard of the law of attraction. The RAS is the brain mechanism that allows it to work. It sorts through all the inputs from your environment and brings to your attention what you're looking for. You've also heard of a self-fulfilling prophecy. What you are looking for is what you will get because you have unconsciously programmed your RAS to find it. The other thing the RAS does, which we are usually unconscious of, is ignore information and input that we don't want. We think we are seeing objective truth, but it is already filtered before it gets to our conscious brain. The RAS prevents you from seeing information that you don't really want to see. Wow. Hence, an evolutionist has set his RAS to reject any information that supports creationism and to only perceive facts that support evolution. He doesn't even see evidence contrary to his beliefs because he has told his RAS that he doesn't want to see it. It becomes a blind spot for him. One additional comment I want to add, but there are actually a lot more, is that some researchers believe that whether you're an introvert or an extrovert depends largely on the amount of nerve fibers which are developed in your RAS. I encourage you to learn more on your own about this amazing part of your brain, the RAS. So, back to the purpose of this chapter. Is it possible for the RAS to have evolved? Or is it clearly evidence of design by God? According to the theory of evolution, in some ancient low-level species, totally by random accident, a mechanism developed that could sort out differences between incoming signals from nerves. This mechanism gets passed from generation to generation until another random mutation occurs. This mutation allows the mechanism to recognize a certain signal as really important for survival. For example, pain. And then it somehow is able to prioritize that signal over any others. This is good. So natural selection keeps it going for generation after generation. Then another random mutation somehow recognizes a different nerve signal as hunger. It randomly figures out how to prioritize pain as more important than hunger. This beneficial mutation gets passed down generation after generation. Eventually, this mechanism is able to differentiate millions of nerve signals into which ones are really urgent, which have high priority, and so forth down to low priority. Note that there are about 100 billion neurons in the brain, and each one has up to 10,000 connections to other neurons. Also, each typical neuron fires about 5 to 50 times per second. Then the mechanism randomly mutates again and again and again, so that it lets only 130 signals pass each second. Then all the other organisms that don't have this ability die out, so that this is the only one that keeps reproducing. Since we all have our RAS in our brains, we have to assume we all came from the original ancestor species, even an original couple that first mutated a fully functioning RAS. In fact, since most animal species have this RAS ability as well, the mutations affected all branches of the tree of evolution. Bonk. That's what Jim says. No process of mutation over generations has ever produced a viable new species. How many times has Jim already mentioned this? And he talks about this again, proof number 27, which is called the truth about mutation. Let alone a complex development of differentiation and prioritizing of nerve impulses that could result in the RAS. You know what Jim's going to say. There must be God. Right. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, try to get a hold of this book. Diagrams are fascinating. Okay. Everyone take care. I'll see you another time.